Yeah. This is the Legacy League. Tell me what will your legacy be? Yeah.
I think we just had one of the best endings to an already amazing regular season. We had some unexpected close games. We had an upset, a really big upset in my opinion. And we had some statement victories from some teams that have already kind of set in stone their place here in this league. All of that and more for this week. I've got my boy Will with us. I got my boy Elliot wearing some Eagles merch. We don't like that. We don't like that in Massachusetts, but we'll let him slide this week. Yeah. With that, we'll go right into our first matchup. Our first matchup being Run It Up versus FTG, our closest one that some will say is an upset. So let's talk about that. All right, Run It Up took this one 73-68. KC Key leading the way, 30 points, 7 rebounds. Sean Yard, 26 points, 7 assists, 4 steals. Doing Sean Yard things, looking like a potential MVP up there, pushing his team, communicating well. This team was so vocal this game. This looked like a different Run It Up than we've seen all season. And what it came down to was the turnovers for this game. FTG had more rebounds, they had a better shooting percentage, less fouls, and yet they still they lost the game. And it came down to the turnovers. Ethan did his best with 30 points, a little less on the assists end this week than he did previous. Sebastian DeLone, 17 points, 10 rebounds, putting up a double-double, trying his best to keep his team in it, but just was not enough to beat Run It Up. And yeah, I'll go straight to Elliot. Was this an upset? Did anybody see this coming on the pod besides maybe Trent, because he loves Run It Up?
Hey, some people call this green Kelly green. I call it upset green. Run It Up, got the upset, and man, it was a joy to watch. Not if you're on FTG, man, that's a tough loss. But wow, I'm watching this game thinking surely FTG is going to come away with this win. I think it was at the end of the game. I was thinking, yeah, they'll find a way. Midway through that game, I'll bring this up real quick. Ethan Austin started to find his rhythm, and credit Run It Up. They stayed in it, and they just didn't let that lead slide, and got the job done. So credit to them.
Yeah, a huge game for them. Yeah, I remember in the comments last week of the power rankings post on Instagram, some of the FTG guys weren't too happy, and I will admit I might have been the deciding factor on where they were placed on the power rankings. So if you want to hate on someone, you can come at me. But was I right? I don't know. They were mad. They lost the game though to a 6th ranked team. Come on, guys. You can't be mad. You can't be mad about your power rankings and then lose a game to a team that's not even next to you in the power rankings. Come on. I don't want any hate though. I love all those guys on FTG. I'm sorry. Just what I got to do my job here. Yeah. Well, let's talk. Will, what went wrong for FTG? Because this was not a game we expected them to lose.
I think they fell behind too early by too much. And at the end of the day, I mean, there was only so much that the FTG could do to come back. I mean, Ethan Austin had 30 points, and he's been averaging like 40 points in the past 2 games combined. And honestly, like, when they fall behind, you expect them to come back. They did against RI Wave. They sent that game to overtime, and I kind of thought they were going to come back. But at the end of the day, I mean, they just fell behind by too much. Run It Up was at full strength this week, which we haven't seen in multiple weeks. And they got a great team. I mean, they were causing turnovers the entire game on Ethan Austin, which is very unlikely of him. And they were guarding the paint perfectly. I mean, and that's the key to beat FTG. And that's what, of course, RI Wave did last week. And they shot very high percentage from the 3-point line, of course. But at the end of the day, FTG is going to be motivated coming into the playoffs. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I know. Trent gives Run Up a lot of criticism, but it's because he likes Run Up. He likes Sean Yard. He likes watching this team play. It's always we talk about that dreaded second half for them in that dreaded fourth quarter. That's what they've struggled with all season. They did struggle a lot in this third quarter. I think it was like 16-10. They only scored 10 points. And then that fourth quarter, I was on the sideline. I was like this just happens every week with Run It Up, man. It's the same story, but no. They beat us. They beat them in the fourth quarter, outscored them, got what they needed to get in the fourth, won the game. Surprised us all. I know Run It Up will say, they're not surprised, but come on, guys. Let's be realistic here. We did not see this one coming. And it shook up the playoffs. It shook up the playoffs. We'll talk about the playoffs soon, so stick around if you're waiting for that. We'll talk about it at the end because we don't want to spoil everything now. We'll talk about kind of these teams' futures in the playoffs later. Anything else? Let's see. Yeah, this team, FTG, is kind of just reminding me of a super team that just can't figure it out, and they're kind of struggling to figure it out a little late. Next week is the playoffs, and you guys have lost 2 games they shouldn't have lost, I don't think, and they brought that RA Wave game to OT, which they only had 4 guys, and they all had 6 fouls, and they got some lucky bonus free throws from that. So that game, I don't even know if I would credit that to FTG. So they've been struggling this second half. They're reminding me of the Suns with Durant, Bradley Beal, and Booker, and how it just didn't work out, and it's kind of falling apart. I don't know about the future of FTG. If I'm them, I want to kind of split up. Let Daquan Durham average 25 on a team and help another team. These guys want to play basketball, all of them, and I think they'll have more fun on separate teams scoring more. But if they like playing with each other, go for it. I don't want to, persuade you not to. So, yeah, we'll go right into game 2. B2A Party Crashers is what we will talk about next. All right, B2A took this one 72-55, taking down the Party Crashers. Daraj Devance scoring 22 points, 14 rebounds, a nice double-double for him. Mo Ashley, 21 points, 8 rebounds, almost a double-double for him. Anthony Cabrera locking it down on D, 6 steals. I think they were all in the first half too. He kind of sat out most of the second half, but yeah, he was a menace on defense. For the Party Crashers, Alex Silva, double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds. My boy Bo, 14 points, 4 for 8 from 3. Doing what he does. I was happy with this game. We were having fun out there. It was a lot closer than we thought. We brought it down to 10 or 12, I think, in the third or fourth. Closest we've come to beating one of these better teams within the game. It's usually like we let up 20 points in the first, and we just never catch up. But we were making a little bit of runs here and there, knocking down shots, kind of like what we did at the end of A1. The second half of this game was completely even. We matched them for the second half of this game. B2A was kind of missing Giordani Neville, who's become their guy, but we've said B2A doesn't have a guy. They can score with anyone, so I don't think him being there kind of made this a closer game. I think we were just talking about FTG not being able to kind of find those second options consistently, but B2A's got all of those guys, and they're able to do that. So FTG, take some notes from B2A. Watch how they do this. I'll go to Elliot, I'll go to Will first. B2A, what did they do to win this game?
What they did is they put an emphasis on defense. Obviously, it was low scoring early on, but to be fair, they were making Party Crashers shoot threes, and I don't think Party Crashers is very comfortable shooting threes, but they did shoot 35% from 3-point range, let alone, and all in all, 42% from field goal range in total. So Party Crashers really came out and couldn't miss. I mean, and there's going to be nights like that where it's very difficult to miss, and you just find your rhythm, and everyone else around you is hitting threes and getting good layups, finding lanes in the paint, and they were doing that. But I think at the end of the day, B2A's defense really stepped up in the first half when Party Crashers was really coming back towards the end. I mean, you guys matched them with what was it? I think it was 16-14 third quarter and fourth quarter. So you guys matched them points for points, party crashers, and I don't know. I would not take them lightly if I'm A1 going into the first round. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Don't sleep on the party crashers. We talk a lot about B2A. Elliot, you talk more about the party crashers. I like hearing us get some praise. So you let me know what you saw from this game.
Yeah, man. What's the nickname you got? Is it for Nick Bokelman? Don't you have a nickname for him?
People call him Bird. That didn't
Or
happen
somebody on your
until
team?
people just said he looks like Bird, so that stuck. We never like I've known him for 15 or 14 years, and we never called him Bird until we started playing. So everyone else just calls him that.
Well, hey, he's been awesome this year. I mean, he's been a great asset for you guys, and it's awesome watching him play too. Um, you watch him and you think, is he going to be able to be a leading scorer? Is he going to be able to survive on defense? He's good on both sides of the floor. I think it's actually a very underrated aspect of his game. And he rebounds well. He's a strong player. So I think he was who really has caught my eye this season. And then Alec De Silva, for the love of God, don't dribble. Stop dribbling. You are a great player. Do not dribble it up the floor. It pains my eyes. I know Anthony Cabrera's eyes just get huge getting ready to steal that ball. He had 6 steals, but great player. I think he's been shooting the ball really well. He's a force in the paint. I like watching him play. He has a lot of energy. Please don't dribble the ball, man. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Limit that.
Yeah, I mean that us making him dribble, that's on us because we don't have our ball handlers. Our two guys that took up the ball last year aren't on our team anymore. One of them averaging 30. I know I always bring him up, but like it's kind of transitioning into that. I feel like we've done better getting the ball up. B2A and A1 both run a full court press, and going into those games, I was kind of nervous about that because we were losing the ball when one guy steps up on us against RI Wave and stuff like that. We turn over the ball like crazy. But I think we did a better job not turning the ball over in these last two games as much as we did in the first half of the season. I definitely love the chemistry we built throughout the season playing together. We haven't played together since like beginning of high school, so it's kind of been just fun for us to play again. And we don't really, we're all becoming adults. We all got our own jobs, so just be able to go out there with your boys and play some basketball, even if we're losing, we're having fun out there. We do lead the lead in blocks. I'll let that be our victory for the season. We do lead the lead in blocks by a good amount because we're not afraid to get dunked on. I think Darwin was telling us when we played him that we just we are shot blockers. That's what he called us. And I mean, he's got a point. We've all been dunked on, so we just jump at everything, man. Post us on Instagram. We don't care. We're gonna jump at everything. We're not scared. And that's what everyone's
Party
got to be like in this
crashers.
game.
The party crashers having block parties out here.
Exactly, exactly. Think you have a party at the rim now. We're gonna block you. Uh, yes, I love so many party crashers jokes people have made off our name. It's too funny. All right. With that being said, we'll go on to our third game. Third game being Reapers versus BVO. Another really close game that I did not see coming. I did not see coming at all. And that is all credit to BVO, 100%. This is their best game by far. Um, Earlier in the season, they kind of called me out when they played A1. I was like, oh, I could name all the A1 players. And then I went on and named all the A1 stats because they were all really good lineups. Uh, but I'm actually going to do that for BVO because everybody on that team put in the work and everybody on that team deserves to be shouted out now. Dante Weeks, 20 points. Markel Wade, 20 points, 8 rebounds. Sam Manley, 15 points, 7 rebounds. I think he averaged 5 points. Dropping 15 is huge in a close game. Xavier Alicia, 14 points, shot 4 for 7 from 3. Casey Kendall, coming up last in points with 11, which is a great amount of points to have at your lowest scorer. 7 assists, 4 steals, doing exactly what a point guard needs to do. But yeah, when Reapers got people like Kevin Views and Adrian Phillips kind of going off, it's hard when you got teams that are just kind of stacked up against, guys that aren't, as talented as, a Kevin Views. But this is all credit to BVO. I want to hear all the love for BVO because they made this a 10-point game. The Reapers known for blowing out kind of teams that kind of don't start hot on offense, and BVO stuck with them all game. Yeah, Adrian Phillips led away for Reapers though, 28 points. Kevin Views, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He was very vocal this game, leading his team. I think star of the game though, Jamel Banks, doesn't get enough love on this podcast, I don't think. 22 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks, and I think that pushed him over Sebastian Delone. I think maybe it was Daraj Advance for total rebounds on the season, but he'll end with the most with that 15 rebounds. So yeah, BVO's best game. Elliot, I'll go to you. Kind of talk about BVO. How was this game this close?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Casey Kendall just doing his thing with the assist numbers there. And it takes a team effort, and that's been the mantra this whole year for them. They don't care how it looks, they just want to be in sync with one another. I think this game was a testament to that. I'm actually pretty mad I didn't get to like really see this game a whole lot as much as I would have liked to. Um, but yeah, shout out to BVO. And this will be a fun rematch come first round, right? They would play each other. So um, definitely a team not to be taken lightly. I was going to say something else too. It's escaping my mind, but it'll come back
We'll,
to
we'll,
me.
we'll go back to
Yeah,
we'll move on to
yeah, yeah.
Will. And we can go back to you. Will, Reaper's missing Carlos and Bermuda's Glean and Quentin Petty, two huge defensive guys for them. How were they able to still maintain that you know Reaper's ball and get that victory? Actually, it wasn't even a Reaper's ball kind of game. They let up 80 points to a team that probably averages more around 50. So kind of how was Reapers able to get this one?
They got it because Adrian Phillips stepped up, and he hasn't done that all year. And he came out when it was required, dropping 28 points. Obviously, you get your basic 25 from Kevin Views because he's one of the stars in the league, and everyone knows that. I mean, and you can just tell. I mean, missing Carlos Boyd's Glenn. I mean, you can see it. Their defense is kind of off, and letting up 80 points is very uncharacteristic of Reapers. Let alone, I think the last. I mean, last week I'm pretty sure it was a low scoring game that they lost against B2A, and I think the only two games they really let up that many points this season was the game against A1, of course, in week one when they're still figuring it out, and of course this week. But at the end of the day, I mean, we got to give credit to BBO. They showed up. Obviously, Reapers were the favorites, but Reapers they were short man. BBO took advantage of that, and now we get another week of them playing, and I can't wait. It's gonna be a fun one for sure.
Definitely, definitely. And something to keep an eye out. Kevin Views was definitely the leader in this game. I know he's kind of taken that role since week one, but like Reapers were complaining about the refs and stuff. Kevin telling them just ignore them, man, just play the game. And when you're a team like this, you can't be blaming the refs. You know, you got to be you got to be on your game. You can't just be waiting for calls to kind of lean your way. Kevin's definitely got the right mindset. Just let them make the calls, man. There's no way once that whistle gets called, arguing with them isn't going to change the call. That's never how it goes. So just let what happens with the refs happen, and just play your game. And if the better team will win, I'm telling you, no ref is out there deciding these games. If you lose by 2 points and it was some crazy foul call, you shouldn't have been within 2 points if you're the better team. That's all I'm saying. That being said, shout out BVO before we go. I don't want to, that was a great game from them. We'll see them next week for sure, though. We'll move on to our last game. Huge blowout game here. Maybe one we didn't expect, maybe one we expected. We had A1 versus RI Wave. And A1 took this one, I think the most points scored this season. Definitely the most points scored this season, yeah. No, maybe not. I don't know. 139 to 79. 60-point difference. Did not. I thought I saw this one being closer. I did say last week that if there was a team out there that could kind of sneak in and beat A1, it was the RI Wave. Maybe A1 heard me, and maybe they wanted to shut me up, but I do have to defend myself because I said that RI Wave takes care of the ball. This was A1's least they had their least amount of steals all season this game. I'm just saying. They didn't have Dom and they didn't have Jared, two main guys to kind of move the ball. on offense, Dom being a big factor on defense, and then Manny Sanchez and Angel showed up, which I said if they didn't show up, that would have been a closer game. Yeah, stats for A1 are crazy, dude. Darwin Perea, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, shooting lights out. Dante Rivera, 36 points, 21 assists, 14 rebounds, and 5 steals. Dude, he keeps these last 3 weeks. He just keeps getting better with these stats. It's crazy. Felix Moore, 18 points. Angel Casero, 16 points. Manny Sanchez, 13 points. Kind of everyone stepping up. A1, I think, shot 72% this game. Can't beat a team when they're shooting 72% on you. Cody did his best. Cody Crawford, 32 points. Shaq Audrey, 28 points. Just wasn't enough. A1 is A1. We've talked about it all season. But this was definitely a different A1 kind of game. This was more just annihilation on offense. Defensively, they only had a block and 8 steals. Their least amount of steals, only 1 block's not changing a game. So this was complete and utter offensive annihilation. Darwin Perea leading the way. Could say so much about him. Elliot, I'll go right to you. You interview these guys each week. What kind of growth have you seen from week 1 to week now 8? What did you see from them this week?
Well, Cade, man, it's really fun to watch a team go from good to great to elite, and you hear the criticism. I wish Trent was on this this week because I'd have a few things to say, but I'll keep it short and sweet. Best team, best team. And when watching this game over, uh, when you have Manny Sanchez doing what he's doing, it's like when the Golden State Warriors, who were incredible, went out and got Boogie Cousins, and it's like they didn't even need him. You got Curry, you got Thompson, you got Durant. You're gonna win the most games in NBA history. Oh no, let's just throw in another dimension to this team where now you got a rim runner and someone who's gonna impact the game defensively and open things up. And another thing, shout out to my boy Felix Moore or Bambi, because you think you're slick. I saw you hit that three, fade, and turn around before that thing even went in. So hey, they're playing with swagger right now. They know they're the best. I'm gonna keep them as my championship pick. I think this was just a performance that solidified that.
No, yeah, definitely shout out Felix Moore. You see the tallest players on the team, and you don't immediately think, oh, step up, they're the shooter. He shoots lights out. Everyone on this team really does. No one's a bad shooter on this team, I don't think.
Get him in
Um,
the dunk contest too while we're at it.
yeah, Felix, if
Come
you're
on.
listening, DM us. Let us know if you want to be in that. um, before we kind of move on, Darwin Perea, dude. I said a couple weeks ago he was the best shooter across all the leagues. I'm I'm solidifying that statement. I think he 100% is the best shooter across all the leagues. He led the league in 3-pointers made, and he led the league in 3-pointer percentage. Uh, That's insane. Besides 2 guys that played 1 game, that we're not counting that. He shot 56.9% from 3. That is insane. Especially transitioning onto 8.5-foot hoops that he's never shot on before. I would assume. You don't really get too much practice. Maybe he was putting up hundreds of shots a day before the season started, but that is insane. He led the league in threes by a great margin too. Only missed 1 free throw this season too, so anywhere from the floor he can shoot it. Yeah, maybe we'll see him in the 3-point competition. If I had to pick, I might be picking him, guys. Uh, I'm not. We'll see him in the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. No more can be said about his shooting, dude. He's lights out definition. Um, yeah. We'll move right into the playoffs. Not much more to be said from this 60-point difference. I just do think RI Waves gotta show up, man. If they want to get past the first playoff game, they need to show up. Um, yeah. So we'll go right into the playoffs here. Our matchups being the number 1 seeded A1 versus Party Crashers. We saw them a couple weeks ago. B2A, Run It Up. They have not seen each other since week 1, and Run It Up beat them. That is a crazy rematch, full circle for them. FTG RI Wave. We just had an OT game a couple weeks ago with them. That is going to be a crazy matchup. Reapers BVO. BVO is showing up these last 3 weeks. I think they're 3 best games of the season, and 10-point difference. And that's just a few shots. That's a few free throws you make, free 3-pointers you make, and yeah, all these games are. I think these are the best possible matchups we could have for the first week of playoffs, the quarterfinals here. Yeah, we'll go through the matchups real quick, starting with Reapers BVO. I mean, Will, BVO was so close to coming away with a victory in this last week. What's something that is going to be their key thing to focus on this week? How do they get that win?
Don't get frustrated. That's my suggestion to them this week because playing Reapers is a very frustrating thing. They just tip the ball away from you. They can block shots. They're very good in the paint, playing defense. I mean, Reapers is probably the best defensive team in the league, but right behind or up there with A1. But I think Reapers puts more of an emphasis on defense than A1 at the end of the day. And I think that was definitely the difference this week. I mean, Reapers, they didn't have the same defensive prowess they've had most of the season, and it showed. They let up 80 points, but at the end of the day, I think BVO they're going to want to come out and get this win in a rematch, but I think Reapers is going to have to really show up and hopefully not have a repeat of last year.
Yeah, Reapers are on a revenge tour right now, winning all their games last season, losing the finals. They want this championship. It's going to be a tough one, but they won't see A1 unless they make it to the finals. So, that's their biggest trouble out there, since the winner of FTG RI Wave will be playing the winner of Reapers BVO, 2 teams that the Reapers kind of dominated in their matchups. Yeah, going off of that, we'll go into FTG RI Wave. This was a 4-point win for FTG in an OT game. RI Wave only had 4 of their guys. I mean, some would say not even their 4 best guys. And FTG's struggling right now. I'll go to Elliot. Can FTG find what they need to find to get this victory? Because I don't know. I feel like they had a strong start to the season, and they've kind of crumbled towards the end. And I can't really pinpoint what it is, but they got to figure something out to be able to push past RI Wave. I mean, they barely scratched by with only 4 guys in an OT matchup. What do they got to do?
Well, as I've said a lot, Ethan Austin is the guy, the engine that makes this team go.
Hmm.
And I think what's going to come down to is when he decides when to be passive and get his teammates involved, and when he needs to take over games. Me and Will were talking about this. He was a little too passive in that first half of their game, and I think it's because maybe he's watching our videos because I said that last week, or he's thinking, hey, I just dropped 50 points. I want to get other guys involved. You know, we can win games like that, but we might not win playoff games that way. So I think that's really that decision making, choosing when to be selfish. That's okay in basketball. You can be selfish, but also knowing when to not be selfish and getting your guys involved. And that's how you throw off teams. You gotta just know when to make those right decisions. But again, it all comes down to the MVP candidate, Ethan Austin.
This is yeah. Ethan's got to step up here. He didn't. I think the Reapers beat him in the playoffs last season. So if he gets by this, that might be a revenge game in the semifinals for him. Um, yeah. Before we move on, I think this is a closer kind of game. I don't want to glance past RI Wave since they almost beat them a few weeks ago. Will, RI Wave, such a close game with only 4 guys, not shooting very well, foul trouble, and still being such a close OT game. What does RI Wave do to beat FTG? Do they kind of, lock down Ethan Austin? Will that force Ethan Austin to get other players involved, which will kind of solve maybe the problem we think they're having? What do you do here?
You get Dom Langston involved early. He was a problem in the start of that game when FTG played RI Wave and that game went to overtime. And of course, when Dom Langston has the ball in the paint, it opens up Jared Hansen, it opens up Corey Crawford, and it just gives RI Wave better space to shoot. And when they have a good shooting night, that team is hard to beat. And even Shaq Audrey has gotten himself involved in the shooting from beyond the arc for the past 3 weeks, besides the week before. But of course, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a really good game. If everyone in RI Wave shows up, Dom Langston gets involved early, Jared Hansen gets caught from three, Corey Crawford facilitates the game like he's done all year. This is going to be a close one at the end of the day, and I think RI Wave has a fighting chance to win this game.
Like I said, I think these are the best possible matchups we could have had for the first week of playoffs. We'll move on to the next one, which is a crazy full circle game here. B2A versus Run It Up. And I don't know who to pick for this one. I really don't, because Run It Up has their number. Run It Up beat them. Run It Up just beat FTG, who beat B2A. Yeah, Sean Yard, Casey Key have proven that they can win against great teams, just the two of them scoring. And as long as those other guys on their team defensively show up and kind of knock down some key shots, they get that victory. I think this is going to be defense for Run It Up, and I think this is going to be offense for B2A. They need to just find shots and knock down shots, which they usually do, but, a rough shooting night, can be the difference between you making it further in the playoffs or being knocked out in the first round. Yeah, Elliot, what do you think about this rematch? They haven't seen each other since the beginning of the season, and both teams look completely different than they did. So, but I would say if the season ended week 7, I would say B2A all the way. But Run It Up with this statement win this week changes things up. Go for it.
Yeah, they had a 74-69 win in that first week. And I remember that those first power rankings came out. We had them above as it should have been. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. Listen, you learn a lot throughout the season about who you are, what your team's strengths are. Casey Key's a volcano, man, ready to erupt at any moment. I love watching him play. And then Sean Yard, he hit some massive threes down in the first half of their last game. To honestly, it almost put the game out of reach. I was surprised FTG battled back to get, as I said in the last clip. But you can't take B2A for granted. It doesn't matter how they're playing right now. They can make you pay if you start sleeping on them. And I think, call me crazy, Run It Up might have just woken up the rest of the league in terms of like, okay, we got to play these guys like they're the 1 seed. We got to treat them like they are a favorite, because when you have a guy like Sean Yard on your team, you can win any game that he takes control of.
Yeah, well, I mean, watching Sean Yard in these closer games, he plays so smart. I feel like he can lock in this playoffs. Like, he knows it's time to go. He knows it's playoff time, and maybe he just can awaken even more, than this MVP level kind of player we've been seeing all season. I'm so excited for this game. I think this is the best matchup we have. Um, Man, B2A. I think I predicted this last week. I said if Run Up beat FTG, this could be a possible rematch from the first week, and I bet B2A is going to regret losing to them week 1. And here we are. They have to face Run Up after such a good win. Man, uh,
There was there
literally
was
these.
a there was a
Go.
lot of talk after that game too. Let me tell you that. There was
I'm
a lot of smack talk
man,
going
I am
on.
so excited. I love. I love B2A, and I want to see them go on, but I love Run It Up too. I mean, I'm not biased. I love every team, so I can't really say that to just this team. But man, I want to see every team get far, but I do love underdogs. I mean, I don't. Is Run Up even an underdog? They're the lower seed, but they beat B2A. Can we even call this? I think this is just a dog versus dog matchup, man. I don't even think there's an underdog here. This is just better team will win. Whoever plays better tonight or that night will win. I know Trent would have had so much to talk about on this game. He couldn't be on it this week, but he would have had a lot to talk about. He loves running up in Shot Yard, but he's B2A others guys, so I would love to hear his opinion on this. Um, and then we'll move into our last matchup. Maybe the easiest one to call. It's A1 Party Crashers. When you got an undefeated team playing a defeated team, you know, obviously I love underdogs. I love all my guys. Nothing more. I would not be more excited to see us win, but yeah, there's only so much we can do out there against Dante Rivera and Darwin dropping 80 points together. Um, but I'll say this, A1 has everything to lose. They have that perfect season, this perfect record. They've been talking a lot across all leagues, saying they're the best team across all the leagues. They got everything to lose, while me and the boys, we got nothing to lose. What's more scary than a man that's got nothing to lose? I don't know. I don't know what it is. So who's gonna fight harder, Um, Will, I'll let you talk about that. Party Crashers, I think we've kind of woken up these last two games, especially from the end of the A1 game where we only had a 4-point difference in that second half to a even second half with B2A. Maybe we can kind of take that, make this a closer game than people think it's going to be. Yeah, we did see them without Manny Sanchez, though, and Angel. But yeah, what do you guys say about that?
I'm going to go to a reference that Darwin made in one of the interviews he did with Elliot that I look at this game like the 2007 Super Bowl. The Patriots were undefeated, A1's undefeated. Anything can happen. It's sports. That's the best part about this matchup, that anything can happen. But at the end of the day, I think A1 is the best team in this league. I think they have the best shooting game in the league. I think they have the best paint presence. And the fact that Felix Moore can shoot threes from way out there, I mean, that is a game changer for them. And at the end of the day, I think Party Crashers, they've really gone up in the stock market towards the end of this season, to be fair. But at the end of the day, A1 is literally David versus Goliath, and A1 is the best team in the league.
Definitely. And that winner of B2A run up is going to have to face A1. B2A, I think, I could be so wrong. I think they had one of the closest matchups. I think FTG
It
might have had a
was run it
closer
up. Run it
run
up. It
up.
was run it up. Yeah, run it up was down big. They came back at the end, and I think A1 only won by like 5 or something.
Either way, I think that's a great matchup. If whoever wins that B2A run up game, I think is a great matchup. I don't think anybody in the league can guard Sean Yard 1-on-1, and A1's defense is not shot blocking and run it up, puts those shots up with Casey Key attacking the rim. No one is gonna block Casey Key, but maybe Manny Sanchez. He's kind of missed a few games this season, but if no one's down there gonna block Casey Key, he's gonna put 30 points up again, and Sean Yard is gonna do what he's gonna do. No matter if you have Dante and Darwin doubling, he's gonna find an open shot. He's gonna find an open guy, and that's a great matchup. B2A though, A1 lockdown on the steals is what they are known for, not their blocks. B2A has so many options. Who do you put Darwin on? Who do you put Dante on? Who do you put Felix on? You don't know. I think that is a perfect matchup in the semifinals for A1, um, where they kind of have to wait to play these kind of superstar-studded teams like Reapers and FTG until maybe a finals matchup. We'll see. Um, yeah. Will, we didn't talk about your championship team pick. Who do you think's gonna win all? We want to hear from you. We know Trent thinks B2A. We know Elliot thinks A1. We know I think Party Crashers. What do you think?
I think it's A1. I mean, call me boring, whatever, but I think this team is unbelievable. I mean, if they get going any night from three, whether it's Darwin, whether it's Dante, whether it's Felix, whether it's Manny driving in the paint, I mean, like this team is so hard to stop. And at the end of the day, they've given reason that they can beat anyone at any given day because they're undefeated. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see how they match up against, of course, B2A or Run It Up if they get past the first round. That's speaking hypothetically, but at the end of the day, this team is unbelievable, and I can't ignore the shooting that they have because they literally replicate the new guard in the NBA with how good of shooters they are.
Yeah, you got the best shooter in the league, Darwin. I mean, it's easily him. There's no one close to him. Um, uh, yeah. If it's not Party Crashers, I want to see it. I want to see a run it up. Make a run. Imagine they beat A1 in the second week in the semifinals. And then they've
I
already
could
beat.
see that.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could see that,
they
honestly.
already
I
beat
could.
FTG. They already, I think they could make a close game against the Reapers. I think Reapers could be a much better matchup against run it up than B2A FTG have a chance. But no, that is definitely an interesting matchup. So many interesting things can happen this week. I think this is maybe I want to watch all these games. So I don't, I might have to like sub out and go run to the other side and watch these games. Um, before we do end this week off, I know you guys got somewhere to be, but um, we should talk about the league leaders since the regular season's done. I want to give props to where props are due. Sean Yard led the league, scoring 32.1 points per game. Dante led the league with 72 assists. I think I don't even know. I think I should have written down the other. Let me see if I have it up. No, I don't. But he led the league by far in assists. Jamel Banks had that big game this week.
27, kid.
He led it by 27. Jesus, that's crazy. And he was top 5 in scoring, I believe, too. Jamel Banks, 80 rebounds, had that big game, helped him get that. Dante Rivera again, hello, 35 steals. I think that was a great margin too. Elliot, if you have it pulled up, feel free to announce it. Sebastian and
Which one was that?
steals.
Steals.
I mean, he's averaging like 6 a game, so 5 maybe now. Sebastian and Daraj, 14 blocks each.
Yeah, the next best is Anthony Cabrera with 24,
Ah,
I believe. I
he's a
think if I
dog
read
though,
that
so
right.
shout out Anthony Cabrera.
He is. He's a dog.
I think I was rewatching our game and he went up to the camera and said he's like, "Oh, I only need 50 more steals." That was funny. That was funny. I'll give him that. I wrote down all the names here at the bottom. It goes Darwin, 41 threes, best shooting percentage, best free throw percentage. Party Crashers led the league in blocks, guys. Um, yeah. I think that's a good little wrap up to this week. Man, I cannot wait for next week. These playoffs are going to be crazy. Hopefully we get Trent back on here. I know he'll have a lot to say to you. Um, yeah, you know, thank you everyone for watching. Shout out Will. Shout out Elliot. Um, I was gonna say something about the Eagles, man, but I don't even. If you want to say something, go Eagles or
Come
something,
on,
go
say
for
it,
it. But
Cade. Come on. What are you gonna
Let's
say?
go Kendrick Lamar. I want to see Kendrick Lamar put on a performance of a
Hey,
lifetime.
everyone's rooting. Everyone's rooting for the meteor. What if the meteor strikes during Kendrick Lamar's performance?
That would be sick. All right,
Hey,
guys.
all I gotta say is go Birds. It's right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Go
sure. Go
Birds.
Patriots in
I don't like
2029.
I don't like either team, but I rather the Eagles win at the end of the
Well,
day.
whatever. Go Party Crashers. That's all I'll say. All right, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. Shout out my guys. We'll see you next week.